everything went down from that. Jesus.
15 miles or so from the falls in the province of Ontario. Growing up in St. Catharines, she seemed to be popular amongst her childhood friends.
What the fuck happened?
She did show some tendencies towards the dark side before ever meeting Paul, but nothing I'd call abnormal.
What in the fuck?
Like a goth, writing dark poetry,
happened?
Seemed to think constantly about death and destruction.
I guess literally it's just like, nope. No, you can't talk about that.
Seen as normal, a fleeting teenage phase.
Can't talk about that.
In the summer of 1987, she certainly didn't seem destined to engage in any kind of evil act.
All it was
she become so incredibly fucked up.
Sound alerts. It seems like your sound alerts browser source is offline. Make sure you've implemented the source correctly.
High school and moved into a big house in the St. Catharines suburb of Port Dalhousie, an idyllic seaside community on the shores of Lake Ontario.
All of my shit fell apart at that point. All I was listening to was the
something horrible, buried inside her. Disgusting and shocking acts the two committed.
Sometimes shit just goes wrong
behind their violent deeds. Like another Canadian murder.
Sometimes things break.
Mark Bitchell
and to assume
deadly innocence Bernardo.
To assume
that
it's something that it's not.
A piece of pop culture. Instead of Dexter, it would be the Bret Easton Ellis novel American Psycho. According to many, Paul read American Psycho, quote, like his Bible. If you're familiar with this piece of literature and or film, you know that is not a good thing. Like a really, really bad thing. Paul had already killed by the time he read it. He had already committed so many rapes. American Psycho did not turn a regular dude into a rapist and murderer, not at all. But the book did speak to him and did seem to push him into further levels of sexual violence.
It's so weird. What the fuck? Everything fucking crashed.
While presenting the image of a good-looking, clean-cut, organized
damn it! It crashed hard on that.
The story of Patrick Bateman.
While listening to the Russian sounds. Damn.
In 1980s Manhattan, Wall Street was experiencing a major boom and new millionaires were being made on a daily basis.
But I do like it. It's very interesting.
Materialistic and image-driven society. Bateman murders young women.
I'm just drawing a circle.
The book and the subsequent movies.
I'm just drawing a circle.
A fucking fantastic movie.
Come on, Russia.
Will be criticized.
I'm just drawing a circle. Come on.
And it is super violent. But critics also praise both the book and movie heavily for the story's depiction of 1980s materialism in its postmodernist style. Let me share a few excerpts. Get a feel for the story that Paul loves so much. Bateman spends about as much time murdering as he does analyzing 1980 pop music artists, showing the shallow and vicious aspects of the culture in which he lives, where human life and experiences are something to be consumed instead of appreciated. You've seen the movie, you probably remember the famous business card scene. So good. Or Patrick Bateman's speech about Huey Lewis in the News, right as he prepares to murder his coworker with an axe. Jared Leto, playing a man named Paul. You like Huey Lewis in the News? Their early work was a little too new wave for my taste. But when Sports came out in '82,
thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out with me.
The whole album has a clear, crisp sound and a new sheen of consummate professionalism that really gives the songs a big boost. Even compared to Elvis Costello, but I think Huey had
didn't fucking fully break. What the fuck?
In '87, Huey released
like everything fell apart.
I think their undisputed masterpiece is "Hip to Be Square." A song so catchy, most people probably don't listen to the lyrics, but they should, because it's not just about the pleasures of conformity and the importance of trends. It's also a personal statement about the band itself. Hey, Paul! And then Patrick swings a fucking axe and obliterates Paul. Keeps swinging it while screaming insults about how vapid and idiotic he is. It's a crazy, crazy, very memorable scene. Disturbing. Also showed the acting chops of a young Christian Bale. Holy shit! And also how good Huey Lewis in the News. It's hip to be square. It's hip to be square. I always think of American Psycho now. That song. While scenes like this were critiqued, again, for being too violent by some, the book, way more violent actually, featured way more violence than the movie did. Much more detailed and sexual. Take this following excerpt. Far too dark and fucked up to lighten up with some Huey Lewis. So might as well lean into the darkness here.
Nope.
The following, while fictional, described as, with the sound I'm going to use behind it, the following, while fictional, described a toy box level of sexual torture imagery. You want to skip ahead a few minutes.
Sound alerts.
No longer properties. I mean, this is brutal shit. But worth sharing, narrative-wise, because it provides valuable insight into what Paul would likely do to a few young women whose lives he likely ended, or at least very at the very least helped end, insight into tragic moments in the lives of the many women he'd rape as well. And more importantly, this is the kind of shit that Carla will later go along with, which is why there will be so much public outcry over the very lenient punishment she will receive. So here we go. Skip ahead again. If graphic sexual violence is too much, you cannot unhear this shit. She's tied to the floor, naked, on her back, both feet, both hands tied to makeshift posts that are connected to boards, which are weighted down with metal. The hands are shot full of nails, and her legs are spread as wide as possible. A pillow props her ass up, and cheese, brie, has been smeared across her open cunt, some of it even pushed up into the vaginal cavity. I try using the power drill on her, forcing it into her mouth, but she's conscious enough, has strength to close her teeth, clamping them down, and even though the drill goes through the teeth quickly, it fails to interest me. So I hold her head up, blood dribbling from her mouth, and make her watch the rest of the tape. And while she's looking at the girl on the screen bleed from almost every possible orifice, I'm hoping she realizes that this would have happened to her, no matter what. That she would have ended up lying here on the floor in my apartment, hands nailed to posts, cheese and broken glass pushed up into her cunt, her head cracked and bleeding purple, no matter what other choice she might have made. I'm trying to ease one of the hollow plastic tubes from the dismantled Habitrail system up into her vagina, forcing the vaginal lips around one end of it, and even with most of it greased with olive oil, it's not fitting in properly. During this, the jukebox plays Frankie Valli, singing The Worst That Could Happen, and I'm grimly lip-syncing to it while pushing the Habitrail tube up into this bitch's cunt. I finally have to resort to pouring acid around the outside of the pussy so that the flesh can give way to the greased end of the Habitrail, and soon enough it slides in easily. I hope this hurts you, I say. The rat hurls itself against the glass cage as I move from the kitchen into the living room. It refused to eat what was left of the other rat I'd brought to play with last week. That now lies dead, rotting in a corner of the cage. For the last 5 days, I've purposely
change the browser source
I set the
hardware,
glass cage down next to the girl, and maybe because
acceleration
of the scent of cheese, the rat seems to go
settings,
insane.
OBS,
First running in circles,
and try
mewing,
again
then trying
with
to
either
heave its body,
enabling
weak
or
with hunger,
disabling the
over
browser.
the side of the cage. The rat
Advance.
doesn't need
Okay.
prodding, and the bent coat hanger I was going to use remains untouched by my side, and with the girl still conscious, the thing moves effortlessly on newfound energy, racing up the tube until half of its body disappears, and then after a minute, its rat body shaking while it feeds, all of it vanishes, except for the tail, and I yank the Habitrail tube out of the girl, trapping the rodent. Soon, even the tail disappears. The noises the girl is making are, for the most part, incomprehensible. Holy shit! Fucking brutal. Again, fiction, but fiction that he would love. Paul Bernardo would be inspired by this shit. He would not be disgusted by it. He would use it as a blueprint of sorts for what he wanted to do to future victims. It was his favorite fucking book. Maybe that was his favorite passage. Another fucked up book that Bernardo loved was Perfect Victim, the true story of the girl in the box, written by Christine McGuire. True story of how an American man, 24-year-old Cameron Hooker, kidnapped a hitchhiker, 20-year-old Colleen Stan, then trained her to be his sex slave, putting her in a small wooden box that left her very little room to move, at first for 23 hours a day. Hooker kept this woman as his prisoner and as a sex slave for he and his young wife Janice for 7 years before authorities finally arrested them. She became so brainwashed by Cameron that she was eventually given more and more time outside the box. At one point, her captors even let her leave the house to get a job, knowing she'd return home at the end of the day, where she'd be physically and sexually abused. She was brainwashed into believing that an organization called The Company would painfully torture her and harm her family if she ever tried to escape. Of course, that organization does not exist. And she believed that a girl had been held prisoner before her and killed. She was terrified. Her captivity and torture lasted from 1977 to 1984, took place in Red Bluff, California, sleepy little lumber town, about 14,000.
Okay.
Northern California.
I don't know why my browser source is offline. I don't get that.
23 hours a day for the last 3 years of her captivity. When Cameron started to worry she'd been given too much freedom and would escape. Cameron Hooker, now 68, still incarcerated as of this recording, but is eligible for parole now. Fucking gross.
I think I gotta restart
arrested back in November 1994
that to get that. I guess I'm just fucked on that end.
I hope somebody puts him in a little box first. What about the rest?
Oh well.
Janice Hooker testified against her husband in exchange for complete prosecutorial God, the word. Prosecutorial immunity. There we go. Even though she participated in numerous sexual assaults on Colleen, even though she helped kidnap her, she was never charged with anything, and after the trial, went on to raise 2 daughters in relative anonymity. Quite the plea deal. Sexism likely helped her here, I think. I have a hard time believing a dude would get that deal in those circumstances. I'll talk about how sexism statistically has helped criminals like Janice and like Karla Homolka here in just a bit. According to the Chico News and Review, Janice was working as a social worker in California as recently as 2010. Wonder how many coworkers and clients knew what the fuck she did. 64 now, Colleen Stan's life has been rocky ever since her imprisonment. Of course it has. How could it not be? As reported in a March 9th, 2014 New York Daily News article, she tried to move on to a normal life, but misery followed her. A string of failed marriages and a troubled child now in jail. I hope she is happy somewhere today. She must have had a lot of inner strength to endure what she endured. Anyway, this incredibly tragic true story, and the book written about it provided a blueprint of sorts for Paul as well. He didn't find Colleen's torture sad, turned him the fuck on. He loved this story. Made him realize that a sick dream of his was truly possible, to share a life with someone who would let him sleep with other women, women he was raping, women his wife would help him rape, and also sexually assault herself. So again, what was Karla's motivation to do what she did? This is a little outside the box, a little unexpected, but apparently, according to a couple true crime experts, almond rokas. Favorite sweets, easily, almond rokas. Paul happened to have mastered an old family recipe before he'd met her. His almond rokas, which he baked some of them early in their relationship, in their courtship, the best she'd ever tasted by miles. If she wanted another batch, she'd have to participate in Paul's twisted sexual game.
By the way, thank you for hanging out with me, even while my computer went the fuck off.
Carefully guard this.
And now sound alerts don't work, so that's fucking awesome.
Small scrap of paper that had the recipe on it. His grandma wrote down decades earlier in a fresh plastic sandwich bag. Shoved that bag up his ass, retrieving it the following day from his morning.
What happens when you listen to weird Russian sounds? Like, that's just so weird.
Out of his ass. Tragically, she waited too long.
It's most likely that things broke.
Bitch. I memorized that shit. No new pussy, no more almond roca. Wish that were true for storytelling. No, can you imagine? What an insane
things just break
all for the roca.
For no odd reason.
Not being able to get a recipe hidden in a serial killer's ass. No, of course not. Almond roca really is delicious, by the way. It's my grandma Betty's.
Sometimes things just break.
Covered almond butter crunch, hard toffee, with a coating of almond, ground almond.
Hey, hippies. Really, technology isn't perfect. It's not infallible.
Though it may be tempting to see Karla as Paul's unwitting accomplice, given all of Paul's sadistic tendencies, a battered woman doing whatever Paul wanted out of fear, a desperate attempt to convince him to love her. There's a lot of evidence to suggest that Karla not only went along with the violent attacks, but enjoyed them herself. Tapes would come out during the trial that would show her actively participating in sexual assault.
But I can listen to some Celtic music or something like that. I don't know.
Rapes, murders.
I'm getting spooked.
Never once.
I'm getting spooked.
We love our house. Been here for years.
Yeah, but there's an animal in the attic.
I'm slightly tired and just want to go to bed. I don't know. I don't know where I am right now. I'm just very sleepy. I might just send you guys off to another place. Get some rest. I know. I should get some rest. Who should I raid? My stream fucked up. But it looks pretty good. I think this is exactly what he wanted. So, who are we gonna raid? There's Cat Vaughn, the Shaw Red Fox. He's still streaming. D20 Thoughts. Is that a circle? It is a circle. It's general. It's a general mass. I'm either gonna go to bed or I'm gonna play something. I don't know. Probably gonna go to bed. Who do you have in mind? Who you have in mind? Go to bed. Okay, well then I got a raid. Who do you have in mind? I've already got the command ready for it. I've got the command just ready for it. Hello? I have nobody to think of to raid. Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. No, I know, Floofy, but I'm getting real tired. I'm so sorry. My sound alerts also fucked up. So, my sound alerts are fucked up. Hopefully I can get them. They'll be fixed after a little while. Get some good rest. All right, General. Hope you like this. Hope you enjoyed this so far. It's fine. Well, thank you. I hope this is exactly what you were thinking of when you were thinking of the General. And then I gotta add, I'm gonna add it like he showed me the picture that he wanted. I hope this is what you wanted, General. I hope you have a wonderful night, guys. I fell asleep a bit. That's fine. Night, Floof. Thank you for being amazing. You're an amazing woman. Stay positive, stay amazing, stay awesome. It's very easy for you. I know it is. I believe in you. Thank you guys so much for coming in, and thank you guys for chilling with me. Thank you, Mass, for checking me out. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful one now. Just say hi to this person and not much else. Have a good one, guys. Night night.